Hi everybody, it's Doreen and I'm back today with a shaped card. And this card is actually a housewarming card that I've made for one of my co-workers who just purchased their first home. So what does our card look like for today? This is the card that we will be making. So come on and join me and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay everybody, so we're going to bring up the supplies and get started with our card. So this one is a really simple one, and this card measures about 3.5 inches by, looks like maybe 4 inches. So it's a really small, tiny card, and I'm just basically wanted to add something along with the gift that I'm going to be giving my coworker for purchasing their new house. So now what I've done is I kind of wanted to have something behind the piece right here for the windows. So I have this piece of transparency, and it is by Prima. And I actually picked this up at Tuesday morning. It came in a sheet. It's Prima Transparencies. I got this quite a while ago. And it came actually in 4 little sections. So it kind of looks like this. I know it's kind of hard to see with the camera, and I apologize for the glare. So I just cut 1 square of it out. And I did put this on my mat to run it through the silhouette. And it kind of shifted on the mat, so it cut not the way it should have cut. But because it's going to be back behind this piece, I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on there, and then I'll just make sure I even out with an X-Acto knife the pieces that went jagged when it went to cut. You know, I just didn't want to waste and try to cut another one because I only had that one piece of this particular style, and I just decided to go ahead and work with it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to see what we're going to have to use to put this on here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my tape along the edges here, and I'm going to use the Tombow for this and get along the edge there so that we can put that piece on there. I was gonna put on a transparency, but I think it'd be better to just try to get it actually on the cardstock itself. And then what we'll have to do is we'll still have to put some tape on the transparency piece on the back of there. So I'm going to line this up as best I can, and like I said, I'm going to have to go back and cut some of the pieces. So I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to me so I can see it, and then I'll come back in camera frame because I want to make sure I get it on there correctly. And this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be, but we'll get it on there. Okay everybody, so I needed to step off camera so that I could go ahead and get that piece that I wanted to get on there, so I could get it on there evenly and then trim off the excess that I had. So now we're going to continue adding our pieces to our top layer. So this is some paper piecing, and if you're not a fan of paper piecing, then you're not going to want to make this card. But actually it's not that much paper piecing, so you should be able to handle it. So now I think what we'll do is we'll put on the roof piece that goes right here, and once again I'm going to get some tape on here using my Tombow adhesive, and we'll just go ahead and grab my tweezers, and we'll add this piece to the card, or to our top layer here. So I'm just going to line that up and then just go ahead and press that down. So now we're on our next piece, which is going to be this piece right here, and it's going to fit right over like so. So with this piece, we're going to use the two-way zig pen to put this on. So I'm going to get some glue on here, and then we'll add this piece. And then after that, we'll be ready to add our front doors. So now that I've got my glue on there, I take my tweezers, and I'm just going to line this up. I think I'll start lining up here first, and make sure that I get that piece over there in the corner, and then we'll just kind of adjust and press down the rest of it. And I'm going to make sure we can get this lined up on here, and then press down. So now we've got that layer on. Oh, and I'm sorry if I was out of camera frame. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I don't know what happened with my camera adjustment, but now I should be within camera frame. So now let's go ahead and finish adding our pieces. We're going to put on the first door, which goes right here. So I'm just going to use the Tombow again and add that. And I'm just using scrap pieces of paper that I've had left over. I believe some of it is the Recollections, and some of it is that Joann Fabrics textured cardstock. And I'm going to lay that piece down right there. And then we'll add the next layer of the door, which goes right here. So as you can see, our house is coming together. So I'm going to once again use the Tombow and get some glue on there. And then I'm going to add our door. So now that's it. We pretty much got the front, or the top layer of our door, of our house put together. So now what we'll need to do is add this on top of the card. But we also need to add this piece, which is, I guess, the sidewalk. So now we have to find out how this piece is supposed to sit on here. And there were no instructions or a blog to go to figure out how to put this together, so I hope I'm doing this right. If not, I'm sure someone will let me know when you're watching this video. So I believe these pieces here match up with each other and are supposed to go like so. And then this goes on top of that. But I'm going to look at the actual picture of the finished card, and then I'll make sure we're putting these pieces on right. Okay, everybody, so I finally figured this out after I looked at the picture. So this piece right here that you cut out, this is going to go on top of this piece of your house. So it fits just like so. That is your layer that you'll need to put down there at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think we're going to use the Tombow to tape this down. So we'll just add some tape here. And then let's make sure we put the tape on the right side. Yep. It's going to go down like that. So you'll just lay this down on top of here and line up your edges. And then your last piece is your steps, and they fit and sit right here. So it looks like that. So we'll just add some Tombow again. And I don't know why I was having such a hard time figuring this one out. It's not that many pieces, but for some reason I wasn't getting how to lay this on here. But then once I looked at the picture on the Silhouette website, I saw how it was supposed to go. So there. So now we have the top layer of our house with our little transparency back there in the back to act as the windows. So now the last step we'll do is we'll just add all of this to our card. And it's going to line up like so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my tape, rather than putting it on the transparency piece, I'm going to put the tape on the card itself. So I'm going to use the Tombow again and just get some tape in all those spots so that we can get this on here. And hopefully this will stay once we get all our tape on there. So I'm just going to line it up, and we'll start lining it up at the top. And then we'll line it up along the edge here, and then we'll just press down. So now we have our little house card. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and, I've got to add something on here. It just looks too plain. And I'll come back with the finished card and the envelope. Okay, everybody, so I'm back with the finished card. So what I've done, this is it, is I've gone ahead and stamped out their address on the card. And I realized after I did this that I had some numbers that were a little bit smaller, but I had already stamped this, so I have to leave it the way it is. I wasn't going to cut the card again because you know how I don't like to waste cardstock. So, and then up here I've gone ahead and of course I had to add my bling in there. And this is just some of that mesh bling that I picked up on one of my hauls. And what I like about this is you can just cut it down, or you can cut it the long way, whatever way, and you use just what you need. And then I was able to hot glue them on to the roof and the tip of the house. And then I went ahead and stamped out their initial for their last name up here at the top, because I needed something up there. I didn't want to leave it just plain like that. And then I rubber stamped some little flowers and added my bling, of course, in the center of the flowers. And I also used my specker pens to color in the flowers. And it looks like we got some little glue stragglers there, so I'll get those off later. And then I also added a little bling here to act like the doorknob for the door. And then down here I just stamped some leaves, and I also used the specker pens to color those in. And then I also went ahead and stamped out the words congratulations at the bottom. Now for the inside sentiment, if you are going to add transparency, and if you are going to add another layer inside the card, I didn't want that to show through on these open window pieces here. So what I did was I just went ahead, and if I were to make this card again, or I would recommend if you're going to make this card, you go ahead and use your print and cut feature to do your sentiment down here in the corner of the card, or somewhere in here where it won't show up through the windows. So what I did was I just went ahead and just typed this out on my computer using Word, and I've got this piece right here because it's covering up my last name. And then I just I typed out a little sentiment. And then I just went ahead and used my paper trimmer to cut that out and let it sit in the corner, so when you close the card you can't see the sentiment. So now for my envelope, when I cut the envelope out, I think I said this card was 3.5 by 4. Well, when I did that size on my Rear Memory Keeper board, the card ended up being just a little bit too tiny. I'm sorry, the envelope ended up being a little bit too small to fit within the card wouldn't fit quite the way it should in the envelope. So I didn't want to waste paper, and I didn't have any more paper like this, and I kind of like this. So what I basically did was I just folded it down a little bit differently so I could get the card to fit inside the envelope. And on the outside here I just stamped out congratulations, and you have your pick of new baby, promotion, retirement, new job, new home, graduation. So I just put a little X next to the one that said new home. And then up here at the top I added just a little rosebud just to give it a little special touch. So now when I come back, I'm going to, or actually at the end of the video, you're going to see some things that I made as a housewarming gift for my coworker. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.